Good day everyone, my name is Liew Teck Chie with a matrix number 193157, and today I'll be talking to you guys about the importance of trade during the Covid-19 pandemic. So, one of the most important role trade plays in the Covid-19 pandemic is to keep the key supply chains for essential goods before the crisis functioning and open. These supplies includes medical supplies, food products, ICT goods and services. An immediate issue facing is facilitating the medical supplies necessary to tackle the Covid-19. Many of these supplies are actually produced across a number of countries, and for which trade actually means the ensuring of the global supply. So for example, on the onset of the crisis, which is China, they were the main manufacturer of surgical masks. Their production accounts for half of the world's capacity. Yet, in January, this was not enough to meet the demand, and China stopped exporting masks and imported 56 million masks in the first week of January. Masks were also donated to China by some countries. In the midst of the country, the Chinese demand for surgical masks was estimated to be 240 million masks per day, more than its current manufacturing capacity. To counter the problem, the Chinese government actually increased production from around 20 million masks per day to 116 million masks at the end of February. And now they are able to export masks to other countries which are in dire needs of this surgical mask. So, the second most important thing or trade during this pandemic is to avoid making things worse. There are so many unavoidable costs in the current pandemic, all the more reason to avoid actions that will add costs to the traders and the consumers. Chief among this problem is to avoid export restrictions on essential goods such as medical equipment and essentially food products. Currently, more than 60 countries have restricted export of essential goods and increasingly agriculture and food products. Experience in the past has shown that export restriction temporarily lower domestic prices and raise availability, but they also discourage domestic production, and so any benefit tend to be short-lived. Critically, by diverting supplies from the world market, they put an upward pressure on the international prices, which harms other countries. In particular, those who are the most dependent on international market for food. Export restriction risks undermining confidence in the international market and precipitate hoarding and panic buying, further accentuating the problem in import-dependent countries. Ultimately, nobody benefit. So that's all from me for today. See you guys again next video.